Everybody hit that like, let them know we're here, share out the show as you do. Be on just 1 minute. Well, 3 minutes and 40 seconds ish.
State.
Hi, Instagram people. I think you can share out the show too. I have no idea how that works, but you can leave comments and stuff, I think. Anyways. Subscribe, whatever. And in terms of our clips today, I don't even, I cannot, and yet I will. That's it. I'm not waiting around. I'm not waiting around. I can't. I know I got an extra minute, but I don't care. I got to get to the show. There's just so much going on. Welcome, House Sparks Megaworldwide. share the show out. Like, subscribe, etc. All the things I'm supposed to say. And I always forget to say, just presume I have said them about Patreon and Venmo and all that kind of stuff. And I will try to do it on the half hour or the half hour. That's fine. It's basically a 2 hour and change show. So every half hour, somebody remind me. I'm terrible at this shit. Anyways, but I'm great at the show part, and that's what matters. Hi, everybody. What's happening? By the way, let's say, do you agree, chat room? Comment below. Never. I'm trying to do all the YouTube shit that they tell you to do, and I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna say, this guy should be behind my head. I'm just saying. That's not right. There you go. Now when I move in front of it, it's behind me. It's a little weird to have writing on your... Anyways. Hi. Hello. Good to see you. What's happening, people? Oh, my gosh. Okay. We're definitely going to get into the Trump black journalist panel. But first, before we get into that, because it's maddening, but it's real quick. Before we get into that, can we just have a little mini dose of dum dum just to lighten the mood? Because I gotta say, we're probably gonna get ever so slightly enraged watching the Trump thing. Can we just point of privilege as your showman of the evening of choice? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the person who may be, and this is saying a lot, who might be the dumbest motherfucker on earth right now. Yeah. Now, first of all, let me give it up for Joe. This is Joe Rogan, ladies and gentlemen. And Joe is wearing a t-shirt that is for his own comedy club. It's called the Comedy Mothership. And let me see if I can move this up a little bit. Do you see that? See that? Do you guys see that? See, it says Comedy Mothership down here below? Okay, that's his own club. Now, I part of me wishes that this video was like on his end was cut off like here. Just so it's kind of foreshadowing that what you're about to see is comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, there are millions of, I believe the word dipshits, who think that Joe Rogan knows what he's talking about. And I think you will recall at some point, chat room, let me know if you do, you might recall a period where he thought that Joe Biden said that there were airports during the Revolutionary War, when Joe Biden was specifically making a joke about the fact that Donald Trump thought there were airports during the Revolutionary War.
Our army manned the airports. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Yeah. He said airports twice. He went back and cleaned it up. He said airports twice.
Our army manned the airports.
One.
It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything.
That's two. Also, rammed the ramparts, I guess. Ranned the ramparts? No one knows. That's not the point. The point is, Trump, on his 4th of July speech in 2019, shit the bed. He basically he said that, and it was fucking hilarious. And everybody knows he said it, and Joe Biden made fun of him. He made what is comedy in the comedy world is referred to as a joke. He referenced something that was hilarious and did a callback, I suppose, of a stupid thing that Donald Trump said. And this fellow, Joe Rogan, thought that Joe Biden was the originator of that statement. I don't know how you would think that, but it gets worse. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Rogan up until I believe about 30 seconds into this clip, does now and has believed for some time, God knows how long, that Joe Biden pre-taped the State of the Union.
But the State of the Union was not live. And
Yes, it was.
No. Did you see that they found out that it wasn't? That they looked at his
They found out that it wasn't.
watch, and his watch
Wait,
was...
no.
Yeah. Do a State of the Union analysis.
Jesus Christ! Like Jamie, bring up that clip where I'm a complete and absolute dickhead. The part where they found out that someone watching on the West Coast, watching someone on the East Coast, will see a different time on their wall than on the watch of the person they are. Jamie, pull up the part, put up on the big screen the clip of me being a complete and absolute cocknob. This, yeah.
Biden's watch.
No way.
Yeah, someone zoomed in on his watch.
Someone zoomed in on his watch. Yes, he's serious. Chat room, he's not kidding at all.
And his watch was the wrong time.
Let me guess, you were watching from Central Time and it was off by an hour. Or you were watching Pacific Time and it was off by 3. Or you were watching, you were in Hawaii and it was off by 4. I don't know, whatever.
How could that even be?
Well, it could be he's blind. You can't see what time his
all the
fucking
networks
watch
on
is.
it?
It could be that Joe Biden is blind and that he can't see what time his watch is. Well, I honest to God, I don't know why the president even wears a watch, because quite frankly, there's a person waiting to tell you where to be every fucking second.
I don't know what they knew. How do you...
Yes, that is true. Joe Rogan did not know what the rest of us know, in that time flows in a consistent manner.
You know what they knew. You just you get a feed. You know?
I don't think all the Republicans
I don't know what they knew. You just get a feed.
would agree to it too.
Who
Because they're
knows
all
what
there.
they knew?
Because I don't know who the guest is. I don't know this guy, but the guest is clearly like the what now? What? How? Hold on. You gotta be all kinds of dumb to believe this.
Ew. They're all there live?
Look at his face. Look at his face. He's like, you're in Terrence Howard levels of fucking stupid right this second.
While he's doing it?
Yeah. You got Mike Johnson behind you. You got the all in the audience crossing their hands when they don't like what you say. It's got to be live.
Let's see.
I don't see anything. State of the Union wasn't live. I added watch.
It
I'm
could
not
be some troll shit.
see anything about
They
that.
got me.
Yeah.
They could have got me. Well, there was no Biden's watch.
Dude, stop looking. No, there was not. There is not. There's no fucking way. Let me put it this way. What are the odds that they put out to the Republicans in the, in the room, put out the president's sick, so we're pre-taping it, and you guys have to Marjorie Taylor Greene, we need you to come back and we need you to pre-tape your booze. Yeah, she participated in it. She did that. She agreed to pre-tape her booing, or she doesn't know she's watching a screen or a feed, or they have an amazing president hologram right now that can interact with people and be shocked when you're wearing a stupid shirt.
Look at Biden's watch, incorrect time, State of the Union.
He doesn't even watch his sundial. The guy's like the guy's 5,000 years old.
He's looking at the stars with a sextant.
That's not why he has that face.
No, President Biden's Oval Office address wasn't pre-recorded. A fake
that's
image
the
with
Oval
the
Office,
wrong
not the
time
State of the
floating
Union.
around. Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Just rake stomping. That's all this show is now. God damn. Because here's the... All right. Here's the thing.
there's a fake image. They got
Sorry,
these.
here's one of the things. This isn't just the thing. It's one of the things. How do you not at least do the sort of mental exercise of just going like, hang on a second.
Conversation with.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna back this up. Yeah. How do you not, when you're about to say something like that, how do you not, like, because that's again, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So if you're gonna say something that fucking out there, you wouldn't go, does that work? You know what I mean? You wouldn't just stop for a split second and go, yeah, that's bullshit. I can't, it's not possible. Right? Woof. Right? How would they pull that up? 50 plus. See, that's the problem. 50 plus in the chat room. None of us can. All right. Oh, and Dawson, I wasn't here for payday, so my dues are late. Oh, thank you. Continue to tip your moderators and content providers. They work hard for the money. You're right. So hard for it, honey. Love to all my sparklers. Thank you so much, Doc Clay Van Owen. Thank you. And Liberal Woke DEI wristwatch. Thank you. Yes, that's what it was. Dr. 13, clearly. Okay, now we're going to go to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I just want you to prepare yourself emotionally that this was scheduled to be an hour long. And it ended up being 36 minutes and 49 seconds. According to this. And this is not including the introduction of, by the way they posted this online. This is CBS Chicago posting it. They cut off the introduction of Rachel Scott. Now, hold on. Let me see if I can find something real quick. Because I want to do this. It'll be in here. And it's probably going to be in my, because I shared it earlier. Boop. History. Yeah, there it is. Nope. Yes, here we go.
Thank you so much for
Don't.
taking my question.
Why is the permission reason not audio? All right. Why do some audio in these things work and others don't? What is wrong?
Thank you so much for taking my question.
Get it. Okay. Either way, let me grab this. Copy. And put this, because some of these, I don't know if it's a thing. I'll put this in here. Bink. Paste and go. Yeah. So, here you go. In case you're wondering why, like, Rachel Scott, who is the, here, I'll show you. Back this up. 1 second. Yeah. Rachel Scott is the woman in blue, and the beginning of this, when it comes up, it does not show. Hold on, why are they being so slow? Why would you do that? Yeah, there we go. So it starts before the introduction of Rachel Scott. Let me show you this real quick. So it just starts. You know what I mean? The cut on this, the way they posted the live feed afterwards, they sliced off the part where she walks out and she's introduced by the voice of God from backstage. And then the other two, including Harris Faulkner, come out and they, and I didn't catch this woman's name. We'll get it in just 1 second because you hear her intro. And then Trump comes out, right? So, but they cut off this woman right here. This is oh God. This is Rachel Scott. Now, why, you will hear her question and why Trump thought she was nasty. Besides, she's a woman who dare ask him a tough question more than once. And not let him get away with bullshitting. Because, fuck, she's awesome. By the way, we are now Rachel Scott stands at Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm just saying. Now let's, oh boy. Oh boy. One of the reasons, why would he be primed, ladies and gentlemen? Why would he be primed? We already liked her anyways, but specifically after today. But why would he be primed to not like her? What would it be about Rachel Scott? Besides, I mean, because, again, Harris Faulkner is on here. She is from Fox. She is black. She is a woman. And he likes her just fine. He even knows her name. He doesn't know the name of anybody else on there because he just did a long-form interview with Harris Faulkner. And she, kissed his ass. And that's why he likes her. But that's obvious. What is it that, besides blue pantsuit? That might be, he might be having PTSD. That's entirely possible, chat room. Why in the world? Why? You want to know why? Can I show you why? Beyond the fact that she's black and a woman. There's another reason. This is from the Washington Post. This is 3 years ago. Reporter asks Putin why his political opponents are dead, in prison, or poisoned.
Thank you so much for taking my question.
Why is this audio? Why am I not? Why?
Mr. President, thank you so much for taking my question.
You guys hear it. I just don't.
President Biden has said...
At least the audio is coming through. 1 second. I don't know why my headset is all of a sudden not working. Exit. Hold on. I might have to reset and choose a different set of headphones. Let's see if these guys alive. Are you alive? Dead as a doornail. Okay, hold on 1 second. This one seems dead. Maybe it. There we go. Okay, it's fine. There we go. Okay, there we go. And then, okay, this should do it. I hope. Exit cancel. Hopefully I'll be able to hear it now.
Said that he would...
Nope. Hold on. I have to switch it back. And then I have to go. And then go back to. And now I'll be able to hear.
Spawn of cyber attacks.
Nope. Son of a dog doodle.
From Russia do not.
Yeah, you guys can hear her and I can't. 1 second. I will work this out. God damn it. How will I? Hold on. I'll find a remedy. We will find a remedy. Talk amongst yourselves. Hold on 1 second. Chat room. There you go. Why would that be? I'm just fixing things in the background. Hold on. I'm working on it. I'm working it out. Settings. Audio. Sound. This. Voice meter input. Excellent. Because I was hearing it before, and then it sometimes stops, and it's very strange, and it is hard to tell.
Mr. President.
Yep. All right. Still hearing it. Okay. Try to do this. Or we shut this off, and we... 1 second.
And a quick follow-up, if I may, sir. The list of your political...
1 second. All right. with that why. Why? Could it be the... Hold on. Could it be the wrong...
Question.
It's the entire thing. Damn it! Why would this be? Why would you do this to me, you crazy, crazy thing? I think I know what's causing it, but I've tried to find the solution. All right. Without restarting my whole system, which is what I have to try to avoid more than anything else. And I have, excuse me one second. I'm fine. That's not there. It's not there. It's gone. Rats. My headset won't work for some reason, so I've got a headphone problem. What happened? I don't know. Somebody being on my computer changes the audio routing because of that software. I didn't change anything. That's right. It's not your fault. It just happens to be one. Yeah. Sorry. That won't work. Won't work. The old-fashioned fix, ladies and gentlemen. When all else fails, hardwiring. This is what we get, you know. Now let's see if I can hear this.
President Biden has...
Oh, okay, hold on. I'll have to feed this through here. 1 second. And the wave thinning. Go. All right, now, let's see.
said that he would respond if cyber attacks from Russia do not stop.
Is it because it's not mono? Oh, God. Beg your pardon, everybody. Sorry. I don't know.
Things are breaking down. Something is wrong with the picture or sound. We'll be right back just as soon as we can. We appreciate your patience. Baby, you lit the can. Hanging in there.
Anyways, I swear to God, I don't know what caused it other than my son has been playing video games on my computer. And one of them was still open. And so the headphone sourcing was going out through my, he's playing in the other room. I don't want him to feel guilty. But I figured it out. The game was still on and he was listening to the gameplay through stuff, and it. So it's not. He's a kid. It's his fault. I just don't want him to feel bad about it. But hi, thanks for hanging in there, kids. Yay. Now, I'm going to, let's see if I can make this ready again. And thank you, chat room, for your understanding, if you can. Copy that. And I'm going to shut this. And I'm going to see if, boink, if Chrome allows me to open this one, because sometimes that's the trick in some cases with tricky audio. Anyways, paste and go.
Thank you so much for taking my question. President Biden has said that he would respond.
Nope. Okay, so it must be that piece. Okay, never mind. Anyways, point being, and we'll just worry about that later. Rachel Scott, back to the actual original programming. Rachel Scott, who's right there. If you look on, I should have just shown it from my. I don't know. Rachel Scott did a, here you go. I don't know which one of these will actually work properly, but we'll see. Ask Putin a question about, what are you afraid of if your people are, if your opposition is imprisoned, why do you keep doing that? She's amazing. That's why Trump hates her. And we continue.
Fox News, Harris Faulkner.
NABJ. Mic's on? There we go. Test. Good afternoon, NABJ, and welcome to a conversation with former President Donald Trump.
I don't know why this is
This discussion continues a decades-long tradition during election years of inviting journalists to discuss the policies and their impact with the candidates who are running for president.
So that's Rachel Scott. She's amazing. She's the one who asked Vladimir Putin what you're afraid of. And Donald Trump was basically sent to criticize her. By the way, hit the like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and sorry about the delay.
And the impact of those policies, especially in black communities. Former Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton have attended the NABJ conventions either as presidents or as presidential candidates in past years. NABJ is currently in conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris's team to schedule a Q&A either in person or virtually in September. As we use opportunities like these, both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation.
Yeah, boy, we're like, by the way, the PolitiFact machines must have been smoking at the end of this.
In real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag.
By the way, NABJ, way to show the moderators of debates how it should be done in the current age.
NABJ fact check. Again, the hashtag is NABJ fact check. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time. So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
Also, who the fuck picked this music? My name is Donald and I shit my pants. I go on crazy racist rants. It's a perfect place for me to be today, because the NABJ is here to say that it's no way that I can do my thing. I can rap, but I can't sing. My pants are full and my diaper's big. All right, never mind. I'm glad we're gonna.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant.
An hour. We so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. Now, I would like to draw everyone's attention to this number right here, which, if you'll recall, includes the introduction of the people walking out on stage. And a little bit of business at the top, and walk-in music and walk-out music.
In the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist.
Sorry, I'll let her, I'm gonna let you finish, Kaija, but I would like to say just, and like the discomfort this man is feeling right now is something that is long overdue. Now, granted, all black women make him feel uncomfortable, so it's not something, you know, that's different. But being on a stage and having them do it is probably the different part, and it's just fun.
You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit.
In good spirit. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
I love the black population of this country.
What? Wait. Oh. I love the what? I love the what? Why? Oh, I see. It's on audio. Sorry. I have to bounce this back.
Came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for.
I got it. I got to tell you, it's a ripoff of enterprise zones. That's what opportunity zones were. You know what the difference between enterprise zones and opportunity zones? Opportunity zones are optional. Enterprise zones actually required federal funding. Opportunity zones were like, we'll give you a tax break if you invest in those areas, but if you start to lose money, you can get out. You don't have to pay them back. Yeah.
Black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I say.
By the way, there's 2 ladies in the back that are clapping. They were later seen, they were wearing MAGA hats or whatever. I think they were asked to leave at one point because they weren't actually reporters. They showed up and they were kind of like there to cheer him on and watch, and they were escorted out because they're not, shockingly, black journalists. So this is a private thing for the journalists, it's not an open public rally. So you'll hear like a few of that in the beginning, some clapping and cheering from them, and then that dies out. And it's not because they got exhausted, it's because they were kicked out because they don't belong there.
I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then.
What? First of all, no. This was not a debate this was not an NABJ scheduled debate. This is just, like, he's just making this shit up.
You said you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln.
Fuck you, dude.
That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson.
Listen to the crowd. Whoa. And she, of course, says better than President Johnson. Yeah. Miss Scott, if you're nasty, let me tell you, he doesn't know who signed the Civil Rights Act, and I gotta say, considering who he hangs out with, he's not for it.
Who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
That's the definition of it, you fucking creep.
Give me a
literally the
definition
words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
He doesn't understand what diversity, equity, and inclusion means. I mean, I understand why all three of those words, like he's probably never heard them before.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not.
Oh, by the way, what he means is it's a little bit different. Is she's not on the ticket because she's black. She's on the ticket because she's brown.
Directly, very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until.
Wait a minute. Is this why you gave her money? Is this his excuse for why he did? I'm dead serious. Is this why he gave her money? He's like, I didn't know you were black. I thought you were Indian. Ugh.
a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir.
I gotta say, like, this is fucking insane. Like, think about this. This is not a rando off the street. It might as well be, but this asshole is running for president as as the head of a major party. Think about that. Like, that's how. This is the stupidest simulation ever.
Do you
And I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask. Continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really
have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that
Well,
interview.
you told me it was the longest one of your life, so.
I also don't know that one has aired yet. I'm dead serious. This happened today. I'm fairly certain they did this interview in Chicago. I haven't seen that pop up yet. Andrea, CSL, do we have any idea if that one has actually occurred? Hold on. Oh, sorry.
We had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message.
Oh, by the way, there is this, you know how there's this talk about how, like, everybody's protecting Biden and they are carrying him and they are making sure that he knows where he's supposed to be. He's got a list with him at all times, and he knows which reporters he's going to talk to and all that kind of stuff. And and most of his stuff, by the way, his answers are his own, but they organize things. Meanwhile, she is like, I guarantee would not have done this unless they guaranteed she would be on the stage with him as one of the people interviewing. There's no fucking way he's not going to be, and she's there literally to just tee up whatever message point he wants to sell. Good Lord.
Message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming...
A lot of them. Does he have any idea what the B in that? It just hurts.
Coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What
Jesus. And
exactly is a black job, sir?
what exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has.
All right. He's covering his ass. Let me tell you something about this whole black job thing. If I may point of privilege, if I may, I would like to hold my little flag in the up. You know why he says black jobs? You know why he says black jobs? Because jobs are something people without a career do. Do you understand? Like, most of us refer to our what we do for our career as a job, or as the job we're doing. He does not. There are people who have careers, and then they're up here. And way down here are people with jobs. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so when he says black job, he's excluding anything with a future. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it is, most of us don't make that distinction in those words. He absolutely fucking does. None of his sons have a job. He doesn't have a job. He has a career. That's what his people have. Black people have jobs. Futureless toil. I'm just telling you, that's what he's saying. That's why he picks that word. Sometimes he talks out of his ass and he just makes up shit. Sometimes he's telling you exactly who the fuck he is. That's what this is. White people have careers. Black people and Hispanic people have jobs. Indian people, Asian people have careers. Black people and Hispanic people have jobs. Because that's what they can do. That's what this motherfucker thinks.
All right.
And they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions.
Donald Trump thinks that black people can only do jobs that can be stolen by insane people who don't speak English. Think about what he says about the people crossing the border. And think about what that person being able to take your job says about the job you do.
Millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that.
No, it isn't. It's gibberish. It's 3. You want to know the truth? It's 3. It's the same 3 crossing 5 times, you dumb motherfucker. And I can prove it. Here, you want to know how I prove it? Look at the census and how many actual undocumented... Oh, you can't. Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you want us to count the number of undocumented people in a particular district? It can't be that, well, some districts want to count those people so they get more resources, because the resources they would get would come in the form of ICE and DHS and Labor and Safety Board people showing up all the time. It wouldn't be in terms of welfare and the like, would it? But Republicans don't want you to count the number of people who are here undocumented. You know why? Because the number isn't anywhere near as big as they say it is. Not anywhere near the size that they say it is. We've heard, my whole fucking life, I've heard 11 million people over and over and over again. And I guarantee it's somewhere between 6 and 8, and it's always a rotation. People die, people move back, people come here for a short time and leave. That's the maximum number it could possibly be. And it's relatively static.
And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first...
Sorry, what was that again? If I may. 1 second.
It's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened.
Everybody's been seeing what's happened.
The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that, and Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never.
Again, he's just throwing the word czar on his border muscle memory language. I don't know if it's muscle memory. What it would be? Tendon memory? Bone memory? Fat memory? It's hard to say.
Never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being...
Also, no, they're not. You can't join a union if you're not a citizen in the United States. No union allows that.
Very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons.
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, even a cursory glance at the story about South America shows you that the reason why gang-related crime is down in South America is because of this giant move to lock up as many gang members as possible. Like, they are doing mass roundups of people based on their tattoos and just throwing them straight in fucking prison.
And their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate...
Also, by the way, bringing them into the United States. He used to say sending to the United States, and I pointed out that what are you going to do? You're in Guatemala. You have a mental institution. You take the violent offender ward, the people on the top floor who are the craziest and most dangerous, and you just turn them loose and say, go to America. What do? They go home and they kill everyone. Or if you drop them off at the Mexico border, do they walk all the way through Mexico to America? Or do they just go back to being crazy locally? Well, obviously that message got through because now they're dropping them off.
It is going down, and our crime rate is...
Also, by the way, I'm just saying for the record, think of this as an intellectual exercise because it's all bullshit. He's just talking out of his ass. I'm just poking holes in a ridiculous argument for the sheer activity of it.
Going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all...
Yes, there's the black community that most of us think of, and then there's the one that Harris and Candace Owens live in. It's totally different. The diversity is our strength.
The same. We don't vote the same.
Right, yeah. So CSL... Yeah, I don't see any other. I don't see a Harris interview. I looked at, when he was talking about this, I looked it up. I have not been able to find a Harris interview when he said it got you very good ratings. It hasn't aired yet, you dumb. They have to edit it, stupid.
Don't think the same. Sure. It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. Oh,
that's right. This is the thing that she agreed with him beforehand that she would tee up for him.
Nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt.
Real quick, can I interject that? Because it's now available. Because now you have access to that. Now you can get credit counseling and improve your credit score. And it doesn't cost you anything. And there's nonprofits that are being set up because of stuff that was created not only by the Obama-Biden administration, but by the Biden administration as well. Maybe because they're now knowing it exists. You know what I mean? It's like as psychiatry gained popularity, there were more people seeking help because now they could.
They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people.
When were we in a pandemic? Jesus. That's, what, 1912? 1918? 1917? Are we talking 1925, the tuberculosis, or... That was a long time ago.
People in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn...
By the way, I don't know how Rachel Scott doesn't throw her notebook at Harris right here, because she looks like she's about to. And this young lady doesn't even want to look Harris's direction. Rachel Scott is one of the strongest people on earth. I'm just going to say it right now. She can emotionally, psychologically, and ethically bench press Mount Everest. I'm just saying.
Around what's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment.
This woman was unable to get the right equipment. She's one of 3 panelists. They have nothing to do with the audio on this at all. Fuck you. This woman was unable to get the right equipment. And by the way, let's just go to how Donald Trump thinks. There's, to his way of thinking, there is a line. He's not on a panel. There's a line. And she's in charge because she's closest to him. Whoever is closest to him must be running things, must be in charge, must be the person who's responsible for stuff. Also, he has been in the public eye long enough to understand that there is a monitor issue. That's what this is. If he can't hear her, which is weird, if you can't hear her, it's because there's a monitor issue. Her voice is, and all you have to do is go, I can't hear her very well. Can you put more of her voice in the monitor? Her mic is very low in the monitor. But that would make it difficult for you to shit on this woman in front of you and be an asshole just for the sake of being an asshole.
But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they
boo fuckity who
can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster.
Our virtual class
in our
AI inflation is the worst.
Country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country, and we had.
Is he going to go to Germany with this shit?
In my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from...
Yeah, interest rates aren't inflation. As a matter of fact, rising interest rates are how you deal with inflation. One of the reasons why it hasn't actually worked is because we don't have monetary inflation. Everybody, all these Keynesian motherfuckers who believe that we have inflation because of money instead of supply shock because we went through a pandemic are assholes.
From 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people.
Also, yes, they can, and yes, they do. And it will come down. It is a temporary thing. Also, when my parents bought their house, it was double what the interest rate is now. And I'm just telling you.
People, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation.
No.
Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much or more than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might.
Oh, dear.
I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And
No, they didn't. Here's the part that is probably the most difficult for him to deal with. Joe Biden did indeed have one of the worst debates in history, and his poll numbers didn't crash. That tells you more about this asshole than anything. That Joe Biden could have the worst debate performance of any Democrat ever, any politician almost ever, and he was still neck and neck. He didn't lose anything. Do you know what a asshole you have to be to have your opponent have a debate like that and you still don't pull ahead at all? Do you know what kind of an asshole you have to be to win a debate by the fact that your opponent effectively collapses in front of you, and never mind the fact that Biden told the truth and this guy lied his ass off. We're talking in his vernacular, not reality, just to clarify. But yeah, Biden improved 2 points over the next 3 weeks. But on top of that, you have that debate, and then somebody...
Instead of saying, let's keep going, and maybe not
only does he have that debate, somebody shoots at you. You survive an assassination attempt in the same 3-week period, and you don't see a measurable move in the polls. Do you know what a terrible candidate you have to be to not benefit from either of those, much less both? Jesus Christ on a rubber crutch. Yes, and the RNC. That's right. Yes, you should get a boost after the RNC as well. You know what? The convention was so normal. Thank you, chat room. The convention was so normal, I kind of fucking thought about it. I forgot to think about it. I forgot to add it to the equation because it was just supposed to be there. You're supposed to get a bump after your convention. He didn't get one. He didn't get a bump from picking his VP. He didn't get a bump from the RNC. He didn't get a bump from being shot at. He didn't get a bump from having his opponent basically have the worst debate in history. Do you know what a piece of shit candidate you have to be to not get something out of those things? Consider that. I mean, really.
Thing happens the other way. They said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight. A prize fighter's in a fight.
No, it isn't. This is not like a fight at all. And by the way, if you want to do, this is technically speaking, because every president has a vice president, it's if you want to do a fight analogy, it would be tag team wrestling. You're fighting one guy, he can't fight anymore, he tags out, and you have to fight a fresh person. That's what it would actually be like. And considering this asshole's history with pro wrestling and the fact that he had Hulk Hogan at his goddamn RNC, you'd think that would be fresh in his mind, but it's bullshit. Anyways, also, you're not fighting. This is not a fight. This involves legislation, administration. This is way more boring and long-term than a fight. Nobody can fight for 4 fucking years. Nobody. That's not what you're doing. That's not the job. And that's not what anybody who wants to do the job should think about the job.
Fight. He's not doing where you say, let's bring in another fighter. So
yeah, that's why that's what everybody was thinking when they were voting for Nikki Haley. You know, the 30 to 40% of the Republican vote that you lost? That's what your party was thinking. That's what those people are thinking. Guess what? I got news for you, motherfucker. They've already shown they were willing to vote for a brown woman instead of you. Guess where their vote's going? I'm just going to bask in that for a second. Yeah, this was good. Yeah, it's nice. Some things just make you breathe deep, you know what I mean?
Our whole campaign was steered toward him, and now we have to steer toward him. But ultimately, it's the same because they have bad policy. They have.
Well, then why do you care? If ultimately it's the same, then you're just filling time complaining. Then, you whiny little weasel.
Policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders.
Open borders apparently isn't giving you a chub anymore. Just saying open borders isn't exciting people, so you got to say unbelievable open borders. They're so open, they're just amazingly open. They're like open. How open can you possibly be beyond open? I mean, this place is open. It's not even like half closed on Sunday. It's open.
Horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of as you say, gasoline in cars. They
They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. It is. Why do you always have to bring this up, Harris Faulkner? Why must you always bring up this gasoline in cars business? As you say, gasoline in cars, which is a different kind of gas than normally you complain about when I am doing an interview with you.
want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of...
Yeah, eventually. I got news for you. The human race will eventually get rid of oil. We'll use it all up. Then what, motherfucker? Then what?
Efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Wait a minute. Don't interrupt him. He's just starting to really shit the bed. Here's the thing. Right as he starts to ramble, reporters, bless your eye, like all stripes, ladies and gentlemen, please, say, the only thing to do when he starts doing this rambly shit is just say, I'm sorry, you were saying. And he will go for another minute and a half down this bizarre side road into the middle of fucking nowhere. Just let him do it. Don't bring him back.
Of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environment.
They want to get rid of efficient heating. I don't know what the fuck. Democrats. Why, Kamala Harris? My God, why do you want to get rid of? Checks notes. Efficient heating. Asshole. Next thing he's going to say is they want to get rid of those. They want to make it so that there's no governors on the water on shower heads, so that the water just sprays out uncontrollably.
Finally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population.
Also black and black. I said black, right? I'm under a black quota. It's the only black quota I believe in. It has nothing to do with hiring. It's just saying black.
Within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years.
You're an idiot.
And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris.
And yet, the American economy is unstoppable. Why would that be? Worst ever. So maybe it's just high, but it's not the worst, because the fact that we just came through a pandemic means it's worse everywhere else around the world, and therefore we're benefiting from it. So even though our costs have gone up, the rest of the world's costs have gone farther than that, and a lot of their products have gone in the shitter because they can't distribute them, and so therefore the American people, who have more money than they do because of the government policies that salvaged us from the brink of Armageddon due to the fucking pandemic, gave everybody the ability to stay above water in ways that other countries didn't, and therefore we're willing to spend a little more for things until things settle out and we can reshore some of the factories, start making stuff here, that kind of stuff. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, patreon.com/HallSparks, subscribe on Twitch, and become a member on YouTube. I don't know what else to say.
This is absolutely destroying this country.
It absolutely isn't. There's an argument that maybe it should because it's a lot, but it ain't. So what does that tell you?
And the people in our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is also impacting black Americans?
And that's very clear now. Good.
Her mic is clear. Harris's isn't.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win.
Oh dear. By the way, Sonia Massey's family has said recently, I think, that they believe she might have she committed unalive by cop. And that's what was kind of happening. Doesn't change the guilt of the guy who shot her or whatever, however that will play out. But this is a very serious situation. This is a very serious issue. Do you think he's going to answer it in a way that is on par with the seriousness of it? Wait, did I hit 70K already? Did we actually achieve 70,000 subscriptions? I can't believe it. Only 30,000 more to go to get me a button. Subscribe.
Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something.
By the way, let me tell you something. The fact that he's jumping all around about, I don't know the exact anything about this. Asshole, you said that they should get absolute immunity. They should get specifically blanket immunity is what he's talking about for police officers.
And it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking?
What are you going to do? Micromanage every fucking case that comes through and decide from the president, from the Oval Office, which cops deserve immunity and which don't? What are you going to do the rest of the time besides reviewing police shootings, you weirdo?
With the water, right?
Yeah, well, police.
It did.
With the water.
I mean, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would?
They're going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people.
By the way, I think the rest of us, are like, all right, asshole, then why end the, oh, thank you, Andrea. Yay! Celebrate good time. Come on. 70,005. Thank you, that extra 5. You really put us over the top. It means a lot. Bless you. I'll never forget you. But she is trying desperately to get him to like present an actual a policy that could be implemented that would actually structurally be in place. Like he as president would establish some sort of a standard. What's that standard going to be? How do you actually apply that standard? You know, like a fucking adult.
That are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And
we need people to protect ourselves.
The way in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants
109 and 19. Just saying.
That nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw some.
Yeah. Also, what the fuck does that have to do with the police officers in that particular situation? The police are, again, there are some folks, bless their hearts, that say police don't prevent crimes. They just investigate crimes, or they show up after the crime has been committed. Okay. That's only if you believe that people who commit crimes stop committing crimes after they're caught or after the first time, which is absolutely not the case. That said, the problem with that, I guess, you could argue about the prosecution of it. Maybe you could argue, I don't know, about where they get the guns for these shootings that they can ditch that make it almost impossible for them to trace. It could be the snitches get stitches idea that he himself promotes amongst his own campaign people.
Something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
I didn't like it at all. You're not running for king, you dumbass. She's asking you what the policy is.
Can you get a little more specific back to the immunity?
No, he cannot. I don't want to. I'm sorry, but no. No, he can. No. Of course, if he could, he would have right away.
Question: who would make those
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying If I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime or made a mistake, an innocent...
Oh, I see. So Stephen Miller comes to you and goes, pardon this dude. That he would just one by one it. He would, the unions, their reps, everybody, everything would operate as normal because most of the time it works just fine. But in certain cases, he would interfere. He would have let Derek Chauvin walk, is what he's saying. That in retrospect, that's what he would have done. That's what he's saying.
Innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But
right, that's why we have trials.
If somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
Also, the innocent mistake he's talking about involves a dead person. So having a trial about that is not a bad idea. Just saying. And also, in trials, you're not found innocent. You are, if you're either found guilty or not guilty. They do not ascribe innocence to people. It's just that the state could or couldn't prove its case. Just saying.
Those exceptions be? What would determine
you go after?
By the way, I love you. But he's talking out of his ass. This is all made up. You are asking him, what precise color is the glitter that comes out of the unicorn's ass? Can you tell us the chemical makeup of the glitter that comes out of the unicorn's ass? You might as well be asking that question. I'm just telling you.
Somebody, and it's a very close call, and it's very dangerous. And they have the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision, and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
Well, yeah, but in this particular case, for example, we are talking about let's say when we talk about Derek Chauvin, it took a while. You know what I mean? It wasn't a snap 1 second decision. Yeah. People were having full conversations.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system.
And you're not gonna realize that you do there. This balloon is not tethered to the earth, ma'am. This is not.
I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said
no. Dismissed by a judge you appointed is not winning. I don't give a fuck.
That was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case.
No, it will be.
And I just won it. Now, Biden...
No, he did not. Not at all, by the way. This is, I gotta say, of all the attempted flexes, if he had any fucking brains, which we obviously know he doesn't, he would just shut up about it. He would know that he got off easy right now and hope that it never comes back. It's going to, don't get me wrong, because the crime happened in multiple places. And so not only could they charge him in Florida, they can also charge him in, because it was a lawful warrant, what was found in the warrant is not going to be tossed out. Her jurisdictional issue can get it punted, but they can call it in D.C., they can call it in New Jersey, because there's obviously stuff at Bedminster. I don't know if it involves digging up Ivana's fake grave or whatever, but I'm just telling you, there are other districts where it would apply, where he took these boxes, put them on the plane, and flew them to places. And just the fact that he flew across state lines. He took those boxes, flew to Florida. He took those boxes that were in Florida and flew them to New Jersey. That in and of itself puts it in whatever district the feds want to put it in. It doesn't have to be under one particular, geographical area. Just say it, because it's a multi-state crime. Yeah, and New York also
has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't, because
no, he's not.
He wasn't president at the time.
Those are his Senate records. They were there for a long time before he was even vice president.
And he had 50 years worth of documents.
Yeah, that he has every right to because they're from his time in the Senate.
And they ruled that he was incompetent.
No, they did not.
And therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said,
no, that's not it at all.
isn't that something?
Yes, that's something. It's something called bullshit.
He's incompetent and he can't stand trial. And yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory. And therefore, we're not going to prosecute him.
By the way, Biden was never taken into custody and released on his own recognizance because he's a doddering old person or whatever. And also, I would like to remind this idiot that according to him, Biden has absolute immunity. You can't even ask him questions. The special counsel, her, shouldn't exist. That was the reasoning behind why they kicked this case out of Florida. That's what she used so that she could, because again, Eileen Cannon recused herself in the dumbest way possible, but it was the only way she could think of that would keep her from getting killed by maggots in the future when this asshole is found guilty. She doesn't want to be the judge that oversaw it because she's seen the evidence. She knows he's guilty, and if she's the one who's there and has to read that shit in court, maggots are gonna fucking kill her. So she was trying every fucking way she could to get out of this thing.
I won the case and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We cover you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to different topics.
I didn't notice you do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack.
Also, by the way, he doesn't know her name. He's not saying her name. He just says ABC over and over again. ABC, ABC. The reason he's saying ABC is because that's the network she was on when, hold on one second, when she asked a question, of Vladimir Putin.
On a political opponent. I have another one where
sir,
I have
if you
a
don't mind,
hostile
I'd love
judge.
we have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
Excuse you, you're
can.
the one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
Also, we're 17 minutes in, and he's saying they're late for 35 minutes because you think she, as one of the reporters you're speaking to, is in charge of hooking up the gear like this is a fucking podcast.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices.
By the way, the newest detail is that he referred to people without children as sociopaths, to which a lot of people have pointed out Dolly Parton doesn't have any children. Just saying. So, I mean, Dolly Parton is a sociopath, in quotes, should be something that just DJT. We'll just draw from that. Yeah.
They've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented.
Uh-huh. Yeah, him and Lindsey Graham.
And he thinks family is a great thing. That
weird.
That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with
No, hey, asshole. It's exactly what he means. That's the point. That is specifically the point. He's saying if you don't have children, you don't have any investment in the future. And in this new quote that they found, he's saying you're a sociopath. Yeah, he's specifically saying that.
Families, I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families.
That would be his.
And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here. He also says that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your campaign
I think
position?
I'm speaking for him too.
I think I'm speaking for him too. This is a signal to him. Repeat what I'm saying and
he strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families.
Oh, so he's for the child tax credit and school lunches and Head Start and that kind of family stuff that help families, they're struggling so they can stay a family, since most families break up over financial reasons, like making sure that families have access to those kind of things so that they can stay together and keep working and take care of their kids and all that kind of stuff. He's for that. Oh, I'm sorry. He's not for any of that. I see.
I know people with not great families that don't
Enough about Don Jr.
have a family, and the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not.
Yeah, hey, by the way, he means Jeffrey Epstein. Think of his friends who he's hung out with for a long time, people he loved hanging out with for multiple decades. Epstein didn't have any kids of his own.
What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But
no, he's not. That he thinks that part goes without saying. He's saying people without families are sociopaths. Dum-dum.
That doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that
would have been wonderful to meet and that would have been good. What's your, you're sitting there on the porch. What's your big regret? Well, I wish I could have met someone that would have been wonderful to meet, that would have been good. The wisdom of our elders.
That's a bad thing.
Are we done moving his shit out of the shack? Yeah, okay. Beat it, old man.
He's not saying that.
He's specifically saying that. I'm just saying.
My interpretation, you'll have to ask him, actually.
They will, and they have. But they're asking you because you're his boss and he's your running mate.
But my interpretation is he's strongly family-oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
No, he's saying that's the point. Otherwise, it would if he had just talked about how good it is to have a family, nobody would be bitching like this at all. Nobody would have any complaints. Nobody would have brought it up. It's the fact that he specifically brought up the idea that people without families are sociopaths, that people that don't have children should have less of a say. That's why. It's beyond the fact that he's family oriented. It is specific to what he said.
One last point and then we'll move on.
And the fact that he doesn't know or pretends not to know.
Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before.
Really? Really? He's your running mate? You don't know this? What is happening in this guy? Like, look, this would exclude someone from running for office in the old days, period. Like, that you don't know that one of the singular most controversial things and one of the biggest news stories over the last 3-4 days, especially leading up to this, that this is the first time you're hearing this. I gotta say, if you're intending to run the White House like you run your fucking campaign, you don't know shit. You don't know where anything is.
I tell you this, right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, and many from prisons and many from...
Look at her. She's like...
mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally.
Nobody's giving them
votes. Taking the vote away from all of the people in this room.
She says only American citizens are allowed to vote, sir.
That have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening
Why wouldn't we already be? We're almost through the entire Biden term. If it ain't going to happen, what do you think this is? You think Democrats just set snares? Is that what we do legislation-wise? We just wait till the last second? Oh, by the way, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this asshole is telling you. Maybe what he's saying is you just fucking golf and do tax cuts and shit, and then on your way out the door, you write a bunch of you write a bunch of executive orders that hamstring a bunch of people. You pardon a bunch of your buddies, and you take a bunch of national secrets with you so you can build a fortune after you've left office. It sounds like he's telling on himself.
Time you're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room
He didn't want to say black again because I think he's over quota.
are going to be losing their jobs. The people that have
They are? Why aren't they already? I thought there were 15, maybe 17, probably 20 million people that have come in and they haven't lost their jobs yet?
come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance?
Also, if you're not, the fuck is wrong with you? You picked him. He's your running mate. You should be fairly aware of how of the impact that he is having on the campaign. One would think, right? Right?
Why did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing too.
I
I know
chose him
everybody out
because-
there can, but it's
I'll
hard
tell
to
you
hear.
why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work.
And that's in great contrast to me because you need somebody who balances the ticket out, and I don't work. I don't believe in work. I don't think work. He works. I do the money. I have money, born into money, have money, silver spoon up my ass. He can pretend that we give a shit about workers. I need somebody who suckers the workers into thinking a second-generation rich kid who turned his father's company into a branding exercise, who has a couple of third-generation rich kid dipshits who have tried every grift in the fucking book, that I give a shit about anybody who goes to work for a living.
And the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room, but you have...
Really? Black journalists? Is that what you're saying? Oh, you mean by you? Gotcha. Okay.
Many of those people, they were treated...
You mean like they get shit on by some silver spoon prick from New York?
Very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit.
Nah, it wasn't a smash hit. It was kind of a dud.
He's a very smart guy. Without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected.
Oh, you mean like you?
He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude.
That's because he did all of his classes at Ohio State. All you have to do to qualify at Ohio State, by the way, which is weird because he came from the same school where Jim Jordan looked the other way during sexual assaults. This is almost like there's a system set up there. You don't think he has some dirt on stuff? Maybe that's how he got in. Maybe he could. He's like, I'll tell on Jim Jordan if somebody doesn't pull some strings and get me into Yale. You don't think that maybe be part of the conversation? Also, you get summa cum laude if you just do all your courses at the school. That's all it takes at OSU. You don't do any of your any of the classes that go to your major. You have to do those all at OSU, and then you're summa cum laude. It's automatic. If you got, if you went to community college, and this is the fucked up part. If you go to community college and you take 2, 3, you end up you get political science or English or something like that, and you get one of these, you get like 2 of your classes at a community college that are carried over as part of your major, you're not summa cum laude at OSU. That's it. Just saying.
You take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a difficult family situation, very difficult with...
Really? How was that?
The mother and the father.
Oh, okay. So he had a mother and a father. Okay, that's very difficult.
Everything else,
And everything else. Oh, so everything else was he had a mother and a father and everything else. That's how did he keep track?
he ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the Law Journal. I mean, that's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction.
Great distinction. All due respect, he was a reporter. And then and by the way, he was a PR writer. He wasn't even like, he didn't write for the newspaper, or he was a PR, he was a copy man for the Marines. Again, that's a gig, but the majority of it, he spent like, I think in North Carolina.
For 4 years, got
4 whole years as a reporter in the Marines.
out, went into business, became successful in business, very
So he only stayed in for 4 years. Interesting.
successful in business, actually. Did public offerings and other things.
He did public offerings.
And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born
I have to believe in that? Oh, because it's a myth. Right, gotcha, okay.
in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody.
Really? Was it very well? Which part? Which part of the book stood out to you? I'm curious. What was your... So that would be the question. What was your favorite part of his book? The dust jacket or the inside flap? Or the picture on the back? Or the part that says made into a major Hollywood movie?
That can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family, but he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and...
Really? Is that how it went? He goes to Ohio, lived in Ohio? From Ohio. He goes back to Ohio. It's almost as if during his time at OSU, he was a witness to something or became aware of something that he used as leverage to guarantee himself some sort of power once he went back. And then he used that to climb the ladder with the help of Peter Thiel.
He had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States...
He won the Senate. Guys, he won the Senate. He got a silver, but still.
Senator. So he's a United States Senator. So
he is? When did that happen?
Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question...
Really? Sorry, for the record, Rachel Scott's a success. I don't know if you noticed, she's at the front of the line of the people that are apparently in a line in chairs to talk to you.
The question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that...
I cannot understand. Your microphone
I know,
is so
it is really hard for me to understand
it's just,
you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you.
I'm happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
Really happy to hear
understand...
that.
No, Rachel, I'm happy to hear that, sir.
Harris,
I have a few more questions.
because of the distance, and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
Also, it's not the mics, you dumbass. It's the monitors. And how the fuck are you in the public eye this long and you don't know this shit?
So what I want...
And he just stole her water. By the way, watch this shit. Watch this.
But I cannot understand
He's got a water. It's right over there on his right side.
So
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time you spoke,
The first time he cracks it and he puts it back.
you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose.
And by the way, like at that point I was like, what? Did he just realize and he put it back? No, he thinks it's his.
For vice president.
You know why he thinks it's his? Because he's facing forward and it must be his.
Yeah.
The same way he views women's nether regions.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring. You know, you choose somebody that you...
I mean, she's not going to want it now because obviously, I don't know how contagious tertiary syphilis is, but yeah, I mean, if he's touched the cap, I would just Also, it would be really cool if somebody had walked out with a bottle and given it to her.
Think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's
Was he breathing on your neck when he said it?
why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D.
He meant heart attack. He meant stroke.
Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him.
No, you haven't. Because if you did, then you had respect for him in the period of time when he was calling you America's Hitler and like, you have to know all this stuff. You have to. All right.
And for the other candidates, too. But I will say this.
Candidates? You mean your choices? They don't actually get voted on.
And I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, historically, it's not going to change the course of the race, but it can absolutely tank it.
2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be.
Also, by the way, historically, we have not had candidates this old before. And one of the reasons why we're seeing this, Stilson moment, absolutely. One of the reasons why this is becoming a talking point, why it's important, is because he's fucking old. And he's a mess. And he says shit like, hold on, let's see. Like, this will take a moment. I don't know why. It's being delayed.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
Right? That's why it matters. Because
Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am like an idiot.
It's because the entire time he's been in office...
Free health care for illegal... look.
Mm-hmm. That's why it mattered. That's why the VP mattered with Biden, because he was older. And it's absolutely why it matters with him, because he is now older than Biden was when he ran.
And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons than what we're talking about. Not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But
yeah. Right. Political reasons. That's the point.
Historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the...
You fucking wish.
...president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think J.D. is. I think that all of them would have been. But you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my J.D.
The hell? What? If you vote for me, I'm going to win. If you don't vote for me, I'm not going to win. Not like. What the fuck does that have to do with it? I'll vote for people I don't like if I feel like they're ethical and effective. I don't even need to, like, I would argue there's a lot not to like about Bill Clinton, for example, on a personal level. Not that I, by the way, didn't even register at the time, right? But the policies were worth voting for, and they worked out.
Vance question in.
J.D. Vance?
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he,
Specifically Rachel's point. Rachel's God.
Has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, my point is here.
But at least it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is...
Because she was smiling when she said it.
Do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
Oh, dear.
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're
Democratic.
radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month.
No. That's the only... look, by the way, 7th, 8th, and 9th month is the life of the mother exception. That's when that is. So if you say you're for, life, for, rape, incest, life of the mother, by the way, which, by the way, for the record, J.D. Vance is not for all three of those things. You might pin him down on life of the mother. Maybe. And if it's a coin toss, baby dies or woman dies, the baby will win that coin toss every fucking time. Let's just be abundantly clear. But rape and incest, they absolutely do not agree on those things. Because, the argument would be, I think it was Doug Stanhope who said, why is your life less valuable? Because your father was a prick, essentially. And the idea is that they go, look, the baby is innocent no matter how awful the father was, is the point. So rape and incest being the thing. Now, incest being an inbred issue, but then again, where would he get most of his constituency? They were so the third one being life of the mother. Life of the mother, that only comes up in the last 3 months of the pregnancy. That is specifically it. If you're talking about abortions in the 7th, 8th, and 9th month, that's the part. And if you say they're for that, yes, to save the mother's life, that's when that happens. It's the only time that happens.
Allowing the
But I think it's
they're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death
right?
of a baby after the baby is born. Based
Also, like, the fact that this doesn't get hit on more often, no. We're talking about non-viable fetuses that are birthed, that die, that do not have lungs, do not have a complete brain, have half a heart, have like seized internal organs, are so deformed that they will never take a breath. And the minute you cut the umbilical cord, they're going to die. And the decision is, how long do you try and keep this child alive when it is not going to live? That's what they're talking about. That's what the governor of Virginia was talking about. That's the rest of us in adult world know this. I don't know where I guess he feels like this works with the QAnon crowd or some shit, but it's fucking gross.
Sir, that
governor
is illegal
of Virginia,
in every state in the country.
By the way, they push back. They're like, that's illegal in every state. It absolutely is.
based on the governor of Virginia.
Karate Joe, the article, I'd have to look up where it was, but I want to say it was on, if it wasn't Raw Story, it was one of their attached articles. I'll see if I can find that for you.
They're allowing the death of the baby
is illegal.
after it's born. They're allowing.
No, they cannot save this baby. This baby is going to die because it is not a complete physical being. The minute you cut the umbilical cord, it's going to start the process of dying. And the parent, in a lot of these situations, I would say all of them, if you've gotten this far in the pregnancy, you've already painted the baby's room. You've picked out the curtains and stuff. When you find out this terrible news that this is not a viable pregnancy, and you have to go through the choice of whether to abort it to save the mother's life or to carry it to term and deal with the fact that it's going to die, it's heartbreaking. Like he gives a shit.
Allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well, Democrats have denied.
I think they're right, and I think the Republican Party is actually.
By the way, if you're for protections for the life of the mother, you are for abortions in the 8th and 9th month of pregnancy because that's the only time that shit really happens. There might be some in the 6th month where they know early enough and they have to deal with it because it's ectopic or something like that. But a lot of the ones that do happen in the 8th and 9th month are 100% for the life of the mother. That's just, I mean, once the baby is viable as a preemie outside the womb, you can of course it's carried to term, and and that's when adoption comes in. That's when all sorts of other. It's just fucking stupid. It's gross.
Much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it.
By the way, no, this is not true too. Please, reporters. I'm not relying on Chris Jansen and Katie Tur to do it, but every other reporter in the fucking world, when he says this bullshit,
Democrats, Republicans,
when he says everybody wanted it, back to the states. That's just a lie. There should be a national standard for women's rights. They shouldn't have to choose what rights they want to have by what state they live in. We live in the United States. Men don't have to do that. Women shouldn't have to either. There should be a national standard. So either say you're going to have a national standard, which he is, by the way, it's a total ban. He will sign. Let's be abundantly clear. All this distancing from Project 2025 is a fucking smokescreen. This asshole will abso-fucking-lutely sign a national abortion ban. No question. He's gonna do it.
Liberals, conservative, everybody wanted.
No, they didn't. Like, this is just garbage. If everybody wanted this, why was it a question every time somebody was coming up to be in the SCOTUS to make sure that they believed it was settled law? Why did your own Supreme Court candidates have to lie to everyone that they believed it was settled law to get in there in the first place? If everybody wants it kicked back to the states, why would you even have that as a litmus test in the first fucking place?
Abortion brought back. They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it. Everybody.
But the majority of Americans oppose Roe v. Wade being overturned.
They don't know about this. Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the state.
They don't know about this. By the way, I am all for this asshole claiming this himself, because there's a bunch of, I don't know where these voters get this idea that because it happened while Biden was president, he was the cause of why Roe v. Wade was overturned. This asshole being on television as often as possible, taking credit for it, is a good thing. So again, this is one of those situations where as a reporter, you should just go, sorry, continue. You were saying that people don't know how well you did with Roe v. Wade, and let him fucking unravel this nonsense.
Now, I happen to believe in the three exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother.
Life of the mother happens in the 8th and 9th month, largely.
I do. I think most people do.
So you believe in abortion in the 8th and 9th month?
Most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing, it's an amazing thing, out of the federal government, it's in states.
They're having to. They didn't have to before.
And people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But
why? They're basically having to put toothpaste back in the tube that you fucked up.
But the people are now voting, and it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on.
No, it isn't. It is splitting states and making women have to choose which rights they would like to have. This is just fucking goofy. The idea that this asshole, by kicking it back to the states and removing a federal standard, that he somehow calmed an issue down.
And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting. And it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, I've mentioned this before. Yes, women are dying. Women are they're doctors having to decide whether they're going to go to jail if they give a therapeutic abortion to somebody who deserves one, needs one, and will die without one, while they're suffering from septicemia in the fucking lobby of a hospital. And women having to sneak out of state to get abortions. This is not the settled issue we had before. And you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the three exceptions. Most people believe in the three exceptions. Most Republicans believe.
Well, then pass a law with the three exceptions, dummy.
Believe in the exceptions. But they don't want.
And also, no, they don't.
Want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that.
Right. So you're not for abortions that would save the life of the mother.
And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby. That's a radical, horrible position. And some people.
Also, I got to tell you, probably the most fucked up thing about this entire line of questioning and his answer that he gives all the time is that it seems like this dumb son of a bitch actually believes this. It sounds like it. Like this is how stupid he is. This is like Joe Rogan level of stupid. Listen to him talk about this. Like, he cannot process the reality that women go through in these situations. He's incapable of doing it. It is, I mean, on the one hand, it's gross that he would even entertain this thought form. It's really shocking that a grown man says these things out loud and doesn't catch himself and go, that can't be right. That just can't, that's not happening. At least enough to look into what the fuck you're talking about. And so either he's in a cul-de-sac of ignorance protected by people around him who like this talking point, so they don't want him to hear anything different, which is entirely possible. He spends a ridiculous amount of time watching television, so it should have come up by now. Fox News is probably responsible almost singularly for allowing this dipshit to continue believing this nonsense.
Some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question about you brought up?
But please also, when he stops talking, that's when you say, by the way, no one is for the execution of children after they're born. That is illegal in every state, period. What they're talking about are non-viable fetuses that are born that will die no matter what, and they must be either given, you know, there's a concern with the parents will they be given painkillers? Will they try to resuscitate them, and for how long? That's a conversation, because this child is not going to live. Period. End of story. That's what that guy was talking. That's what the governor was talking about. That's what that's actually about. Somebody needs to fucking say that to him and go, let me finish. So that he at least hears it and he's got no excuse for pretending this level of ignorance.
Health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time. But if you win, you'll still be president at 82,
No.
which is older than Biden is right now.
But not
Would you-
mentally. Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He's shot. But most people.
Would you consider?
Most people. I know many people in their 80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our.
Yeah, but those people don't snort rails of Adderall and Sudafed.
Greatest leaders.
And Pervitin.
You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here.
No, they weren't. They were in their 30s, and they looked like they were in their 80s because it was 2,000 years ago, stupid. That's what he's talking about.
Here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would make,
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look.
How? I think I would know if I had dementia. Well, then you wouldn't have dementia, would you?
If I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That was a nasty, that wasn't a question. She
Sir,
didn't ask me a
question.
She gave a statement. That wasn't a.
Can you imagine grinding on this shit for that long? Also, for the record, I've been, let me go on record. I made a statement during Queer as Folk chat room. Come with me for a moment. Let's story time. I made an analogy because that's how my brain works. While I was on Queer as Folk, they said, what was it like kissing another man? And at that time, they were talking specifically about a scene I had with Gail Harold where we had kissed. And Gail is straight, so am I. So they couldn't even ask me, like, what's it like to kiss a gay man? So let's just put that aside for a second. So in my mind, we're only talking about, me kissing him. And they said, what's it like kissing a man? And I said, it's like kissing a dog. You ever kiss your dog? You love your dog. You kiss your dog right on the mouth, but you don't want to fuck your dog. There's a natural kind of, for a straight guy, that's how it feels. It's like kissing a dog. You can be totally loving. You can feel love, especially as an actor, right? But you don't want to fuck the dog, right? That was my point. And there were articles around that said Hal Sparks says kissing a man is like kissing a dog, and they were trying to slam on me for being anti-gay, which is like, why would you take the fucking show in the first place? Go fuck yourself, whatever. But I knew that was like there was blowback around that question. It was on me for being too cute by half and not understanding that the audience might be sensitive about stuff like that. So what did I do? Did I go, fuck you guys? Did I go, yeah, what a nasty thing to ask me. How dare you? I'm trying to do this show and you pieces of shit are coming here trying to, this is just, no. I explained my analogy with as much charm and kindness as I possibly could. And I knew the question was coming. He knows these questions are coming. So he has a choice to be a dick. And he chooses every single time to be a dick. Right? Does that make sense though? And as an analogy, chat room, does that convey how I'm trying to say what I could do as an actor in terms of conveying an emotion versus a natural impulse? Yeah? You think that analogy, especially in retrospect, after I did 6 years / 5 seasons on that show, I think that conveys, the fact, by the way, also, that I believe that being gay is natural, and I am naturally not. And if you think that's wrong or that I should change, that means you believe gay people can change too, which means you don't think it's natural, so shut the fuck up, that's your problem, right? That go that extra line. Cross that extra line, go that extra mile. Because if my analogy means something, I will explain it. So if you think it means something else, you have to defend all the other aspects of your version of what you think I said. Because what you're saying is that if you don't understand what I'm saying, or you're pretending not to, you're saying that gay isn't natural. That it's a matter of environment, nurture, not nature. So it sounds like you have more explaining to do. Now, I could have answered it like that and been an asshole about it. Did I? No. I was trying to convey the fact that as an actor, you can communicate love, but even beyond whether or not you physically have an impulse to have sex with someone. I do not have that physical impulse, but it is my job as an actor to convey that emotion or to bring that emotion up in myself as much as I can so that it is honestly portrayed in that situation. That's how I described it. Okay? If being gay is a choice, you are bisexual. Right, well, that would be the thing. I see what you mean. If being gay is a choice, then everybody, you mean, Fuzi, you would say that everybody is bisexual because people emotionally or sexually flip a coin. Right. Yeah, again, this is the problem, when you dig deep on any analogy. So, anyways, point being is, he knew he was going to get a question about stuff that he said, stuff that J.D. Vance has said, right? Stuff that he's at a gathering of black journalists. He said really sketchy shit about black people. Let them get it out of their system, essentially, with an interview. Clear the deck. This isn't, by the way, an attack. It's an opportunity. In every situation, and this is the weirdest part, like for a politician or a celebrity or anybody who's in the public eye. Oh my God, JD Christie, thank you. Thanks for the 70K. That's very sweet. Yes, we hit 70K. This is, if I may. That's very nice, JD Christie. That's lovely. Stop, silly. I know, and it's a big crowd in the audience too. Like, I got in the varying chat rooms that I have going on my little list. There's 5,200 people in here. Hi, glad you could be here. Hit the like, subscribe.
I repeated your statement, sir, actually.
You said you would. you would
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well, can
No, you didn't.
I took 2 of them. But let me.
He didn't ace them. You don't ace them. The tests he took are the equivalent of someone shining a light in your eye to see if your pupils dilate or not. If you've had a concussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to have people running for president, and I don't mean because they're 70.
We hit 70K. I know, it's great. Thank you, JD Christie. Thanks, everybody. Look at that. Hey, we're chipping away. I do long form shit. This is difficult. If you make little TikTok-y snippet things, it's way easier to get your numbers up. But I do long form stuff. This takes commitment, and I love you guys for it.
75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened in the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation.
Yeah, the problem is it's not at all.
We have the millions of people falling in. We have
falling in. They're falling in. I see. You sure you don't want to take that cognitive test right now? So these people are falling into the country. So what, they're being airdropped without parachutes?
Afghanistan, which was...
Wow. Hold on. Back the fuck up.
Inflation. We have the millions of people falling in.
They're falling in. 'Cause I'm free falling.
We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Slavery might, I don't know, perhaps, especially to the room you're talking to, might be, right up there. And I gotta say, Kent State, Jan 6, I gotta say, this might be one of the other reasons why he keeps bringing up that Afghanistan was the most embarrassing thing he's ever seen, or the most embarrassing moment. It's because Jan 6 kind of was. It's fucking embarrassing that 3,000 maggots could storm up the fucking Capitol steps, build a gallows on the grounds, right? That's pretty fucking embarrassing. It's shameful is the difference, though.
What he has done to our country and her...
Oh, but what, 4% and below unemployment for 2.5 years?
Her too. What they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
No, she is not. Also, again, look, I understand that whoever Democrats run is always going to be the most liberal whoever. That's always how it's going to be. I get it. But the idea that, somehow we're just going to forget Dan Quayle as far as just generalized idiocy and the spelling of potato, or we're going to forget the crimes of Dick Cheney, for fuck's sake, who you can argue was largely the reason we were stuck in Afghanistan in the first fucking place.
I mean, to interrupt you, but would you consider...
Never mind. Hold on. If she's the worst, why didn't you keep Mike Pence? Right? Why not keep Mike Pence? Yeah, Spiro Agnew, definitely. I mean, all right, we definitely have some Mad Owl viewers here. Spiro Agnew, absolutely. But good Lord.
Taking the cognitive test.
Mr. President,
I would love to
and
do
make
it
it public.
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr.
I
President-
suggest...
By the way, you see that? Make it public. That's the difference. That's the difference. This is a dare that was aimed at Biden, and he's got to ride it out because it's not going to fucking happen, so he can say it forever. This is one of those things like, if I was president, Ukraine never would have happened, and people wouldn't be talking about Taiwan, and October 7th wouldn't happen. That's because you can't prove a negative, and he can just ride that out. The same shit is here.
How do you intend to...
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one.
It's the only name he remembers, so he's just talking past the other 2.
I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her, too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President,
Are you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the fact.
to be clear, you don't think
I'm
Harris
just
How do you
giving the
intend-
fact.
and
she
look-
didn't pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it. I
she
guess
did pass it.
There's a
She
man
did-
over
she
here. I
did in
think
fact pass
he
it.
must work for
Mr.
her.
President,
Holy shit. What the fuck? She's a DA. She was the AG of California. Like, the idea of these, like, I don't even know if she ever passed it or whatever. That's the answer to the first question. So, in all deference to what Rachel Scott was trying to ask in the very beginning, the answer is yes. He believes she's a DEI hire. He believes that she did not earn her role as DA, her role as AG, and that she, somebody like led her through the bar association test and just signed off on it. The answer to the very first question, which he says is nasty and awful and blah, 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 the answer is yes. He absolutely believes she's a DEI hire. That's what that is. That's what that shit, what he just said. Listen to this again, real quick.
And she,
you don't think
I'm
Harris
just
How do you
giving the
intend-
fact. She
and
didn't
look-
pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it. I
she
guess
did pass it.
There's a
She
man
did-
over
she
here.
did
I
in
think
fact pass
he
it.
must work for
Mr.
her.
President, I would love to ask you about January 6th.
Woof. He didn't think she was ever going to pass it. She didn't know if she ever, I don't know if she ever, of course she passed it. She was a fucking DA. Good Lord. And by the way, Venmo, patreon.com/HalSparks. It's HalSparks Mega Worldwide.
You've called yourself the candidate of law and order.
Yeah.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would
As he just stole her fucking water. I can't, I can't. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm all right. I'll be all right. Now, where were we?
consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots.
Sure, yeah. Now, again, Rachel Scott, you are so good at this.
140 police officers were assaulted that day.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel all right. It's Wednesday, I know.
Their injuries included broken bones. At least one officer lost an eye.
I love that she's bringing this up.
One had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs. Another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Now, obviously the answer is no. Let's see.
Well, let me bring it back to modern day, like about 5 days ago.
About 5 days ago.
We had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint.
Fuck you, dude. She just told you about a police officer who lost his eye. He used to have 2 eyes. Now he has 1. She was talking about spinal injuries. And red paint. Red paint.
Red spray paint.
Red spray paint. Important clarification. Thanks, Egon.
That will never actually come off.
It actually will.
Especially in the limestone. It will
Yes, it will.
never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked
gibberish.
Our government.
Also, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but our national monuments are have a sealant on them now, and have since probably the mid 80s at the very least, maybe even the 70s, that protects them against people doing this kind of defacing. Just letting you know.
They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th.
Also, did they interrupt the flow of our democracy at all?
What's going to happen to those people?
A bunch of them are going to go to jail. Some of them won't.
What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed
But sir, my
that
question
city?
is on those.
What's going to happen to
my
the
question
people
is
that
on
tried
those
to burn
rioters who assaulted
Excuse me.
officers.
You have to
Would
ask,
you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You
If
would
they're
pardon
innocent, If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They're not innocent.
They've been convicted.
And by the way,
yeah, thank you, Rachel Scott. Oh my God, they've been convicted. They're not innocent.
the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system. They were
convicted by a very tough system.
How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis, how come the people that took over
the purple?
Large percentage.
Well, Minneapolis is purple. I will say that. That's a common mistake. Purple Rain, Prince, we miss you.
Percentage of Seattle. How come nothing happened to them?
It did. A bunch of them went to jail.
How come the
But
people
sir, we're
that,
talking about people that were seen beating officers with flagpoles, dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that video, sir?
Oh, really? Well,
you would pardon those. You would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face.
Whoa! The police officers at the Capitol, they shot a young lady in the face. He means Ashley Babbitt, by the way, who was already in the building and who punched another dude so she could go through a window that they had just smashed, and she had a knife in her bag so she could stab Nancy Pelosi to death. And obviously she would have gleefully applauded and helped, I guess, drag people out to be hung. Sure.
Who was protesting?
Was she? She was protesting? Hey, motherfucker! You know what I can do? I can protest outdoors. Protesting involves signs and speech. It does not involve attacking or trespassing.
They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died.
They did not shoot her in the face.
That day, you do know that. But people died in Seattle.
First of all, he's like, did you hear that real quick? Just listen to this real quick. Just beyond the fact that he's a fucking scumbag. Listen to this.
Shot her in the face. You know, face. Who was protesting? They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do.
They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. 2 people died that day, for the record. Just letting you know. Both of them were maggots. Ashley Babbitt and Roseanne Boylan. Rosalind Boylan, whatever her name is. She had a speed-induced heart attack, and the maggots passed her over to the very cops they were trying to beat to try and get them to resuscitate her after they had trampled her.
Know that, but people died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in Minneapolis. You know, people died in Minneapolis, and nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people.
Yeah, they do. Also, this asshole acts like he wasn't president of the United States when a lot of that shit was happening.
But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance.
You did? She's a reporter from ABC.
And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go.
Oh, my God. Okay. This asshole, again, like, you cannot be president of the United States and rely on, like, everything that you know about something is based on shit you've seen on Tucker, for God's sake. The police were overwhelmed. They were outmanned. They were outnumbered by a massive amount. So they locked a bunch of doors and created diversion tunnels and said, yeah, come on in. It's okay. You guys can go this way. Go through this way. Go through, yeah, right through there. Yeah, out that, yeah. Knowing full well that where they were sending them, they could not go anywhere else. And those people found themselves back outside on the other side of the building.
Go in.
Because it was brilliant, by the way. That was very smart.
What about that? Look.
Again, why will I never get a chance? Why? will I never get a chance to interview this dumbass until he's a fading memory. Because I probably will. It's like, what do you think? 3-4 years from now? Maybe 5? Maybe 6 when nobody gives a shit anymore? And I'm a big social media big shot. And I still got my show and it's just rocking. And we've got 108,000 subscribers. And I go to what's the burned out carcass of Mar-a-Lago, where he has chained himself to the toilet plumbing in the downstairs bathroom. And I do an interview with him. Yeah.
Nothing is perfect in life.
Nothing is perfect. I'll take a certain amount of imperfect, those motherfuckers staying in jail.
But you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying, they were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that. And we're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated.
No.
But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
Also, what the fuck does that have to do with the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th? I'm dead serious. I mean, yeah. Somebody just put Timothy McVeigh. That was just where I was about to go. In the chat room. Who was that? Wait, I just saw. So close. Can you imagine if this asshole was asked about Timothy McVeigh? Right? And he said, whatever. What about Jim Jones? Whatever's going to happen to people, why aren't somebody going to do anything about, people who, the wild, wild country, I saw that documentary, why is nothing being done about those folks? That guy was able to, fly away, what?
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border, and I do two things, because I can do...
Okay, so I'll translate everything. He'll kill the Texas economy. So Texas will now economically be below Iowa, well below.
A lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming in. We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, what do?
Oh, you mean like Melania? They have to have a Jesus visa. Listen to me. A genius visa. A Jesus visa would work. They'll probably just call it that.
Drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down.
How? What do you mean you drill, baby, drill? How do you do that? You mean subsidies for oil companies to basically do drilling and exploration for free, so that you will, force them to lower the value of the product they sell below market level?
I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down.
All right. If you bring interest rates way down, you crash the economy.
Down, so people can buy bacon again. So people can buy a ham
so you everybody usually buys bacon with a loan.
Sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Because right now people can't buy food.
Sorry. Real quick. Yeah. Real quick. Let's see. Just real quick. I know it's not, it would, here's the thing. If it was on the margins, it would, he'd have some room to move. But they literally, this is an article from June 5th in Axios. Annual restaurant sales are the highest they have ever been. Over $1 trillion in 2024 already. Well, this is projected. So this will be 2019 to 2024 projected. This is the direction we're headed. 2024 will be the U.S. restaurant industry's biggest year ever in sales, 1.1 trillion by the end of December per National Restaurant Association estimates. Of course, that classically liberal bullshit nonprofit National Restaurant Association. Why it matters. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated the restaurant industry, but sales are now far higher than before it started and climbing. And climbing. And climbing. And climbing. And climbing. What was that again? Stupid? Hold on.
People can go to a restaurant and afford it because right now people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true.
Also, by the way, they got a signal. He was supposed to do an hour. An hour.
Your grocery bills are up, and then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know,
These people are like, give him the hook.
Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy.
He's an asshole, and no, he's not.
But I'm against everybody having an electric car.
You mean what you mean? I think you mean to say is that being forced to have an electric car, not everybody having one because they're available and safe and etc.
Okay, I'm very much against that.
Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's saying exactly what he means.
You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car.
A gasoline-propelled car? You mean like the car in the Batman, which I kind of want.
But we have.
Also, why wouldn't you want something with a range longer than a gas car that's silent?
More liquid gold, gasoline, oil under our feet than.
We have no gasoline under our feet. We have none. We have no. And I understand that gasoline is golden color because an additive is added along with the smell so that you can tell. Oil is in the. You make gas. Yes, gasoline is a product of oil.
Any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country. I want to use it. I want to use what we have.
We have ingenuity. We have many different forms of electricity that we don't need to run out of. Renewable ones, I think they're called.
I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people.
My people are saying, get the hell out of there. They're taking your jobs, and I'm pointing at black people. This is me pointing at black people.
People coming in are taking your jobs.
Your black jobs, for the record.
2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So
We have to leave it there by the Trump team. His own people pulled the plug.
leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much, Mr. Trump, for coming today and joining.
It's supposed to be an hour, 36 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in Trump math, in all fairness, he did 3 hours and 60 minutes. So 4 hours. 60.09 minutes. So 4 hours and just under a minute. Because of Trump math.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great honor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
NABJ will email about details regarding the conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris in September. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
By the way, I feel so bad for Rachel Scott having to shake his pussy-grabbing hand at the end of that. All hats off to her as far as her professionalism. It was the right thing to do, but I feel bad for her. And you could tell it's not something she does gladly. Oh, she thought she dodged it. Look, by the way, you guys want to talk afterwards? Like, watch Harris. Like, hey, you want to have a drink with us and we can talk afterwards? Watch. That's it. That's whew. God, it's uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable. Stop normalizing these vile names, vile fucks in the name of professionalism. Shaking his hand. I get it, Starpunk. But here's the problem. It won't be seen as she's taking a stand. It'll be seen as she's taking a knee, and she'll get attacked. She doesn't need it. It's better that she walked away going, I gave him every opportunity, and he was still a scumbag. And he, by the way, he knows this. That's why he sets up these situations where he goes, you know better than anybody. That's one of the bigger, like, that's one of his like, how to convince people that your bullshit is real. Let's see. One second. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, so let's see if this was Kaida Goba was from Semaphore. She was the one in the black, and Rachel Scott's on ABC and Harris Faulkner's on Fox. They were supposed to again do an hour. He did a little under 35 minutes, and then his people pulled the plug on it. But again, he sets people up with that nasty stuff. She's being nasty to me. They're being nasty to me. Nasty. I'm being treated nasty. I'm being treated like shit or whatever. So that it creates a premise where you as an audience member, and again, you and I, we have a different view of this, but a lot of people will view this and go, she was. Why did she have to? Why? And so that sets it up so that she has to kind of clean that up in the eyes of the viewer, not with him as a human being. So he traps people into that stuff through rhetoric. I gotta say, I don't know. I would come up with a way out of it. I'm sorry. How my Venmo honors nasty. Oh, well, thank you so much for that. One second. Let me say, where was this? Oh, Dennis, thank you so much for the 666. For 666 Fifth Avenue. Thank you so much. Kamala's now up in Georgia. Yeah, she's going to be up everywhere, by the way. And I love the fact that, Trump asked the governor of Georgia for votes. She asked the people of Georgia for votes. And I think that's the important distinction. Anyways, thank you guys for being there with me and going through the whole thing. I know people will be playing little clips of it and diving into elements of it. And Trump's people will, as they always have, go, it was taken out of context, or they were pulling little bits out and they're trying to make him look bad, and also creating the illusion that the rest of it was completely normal. The whole thing was a fucking mess. It was terrible, and he's a terrible person, and it was on display the entire time. And so I think there is, again, value in mocking the entirety of these things as opposed to just little bits of it. That's what I do here. That's why this show is special. That's why this show is one of a kind. And that's what I will continue to do for you guys. There's plenty of people out there who are doing little bit clips and pulling little pieces, and that's totally cool, and I'm glad. They should exist. But we also, in context, I think it's very important that we can stand tall and go, nope, I saw the whole goddamn thing, and I'm speaking from truth, not perception. So that's what I try to do, and I appreciate you guys who support the show. Patreon.com/HalSparks. And, of course, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, share the show about if you could. And, yeah. And then, Jamie, put up that thing where if you get 100,000 subscribers, you get that little thing, and then you get a key that puts you in somewhere inside the... I think we'd have to ask Jesse Ventura. Put up that thing where Jesse Ventura is talking about having a trip to the Denver airport. I don't know if he's even available. He's not actually. Hold on one second. I'm looking for something. I don't, and it's always something. I don't even have the full. I need a much like. Oh, maybe the word is big. Maybe that's what I'm missing in this thing. Hold on. Like, subscribe, hit that like while you're there, everybody, if you could. Okay, let's. That won't work. Nope. None of these work for me. Come on. Now this might work a little bit, but for fuck's sake, I need a goddamn giant handlebar mustache. That's what makes this whole goddamn thing work. I look like a desperado. Not right. Hold on one second. I'll find one. Don't worry. Let's see. God damn it, this might have to do. But it looks like I swallowed a Cocker Spaniel. Fuck it. I'm gonna keep this one going, god damn it. It does. It looks like my goddamn mouth is a Cocker Spaniel. Watch. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See, you just want to pet the goddamn thing. It's not right. But I don't care. I ain't got time to be a Cocker Spaniel. Forget about it. Move in with your parents and just shut the hell up. Come on. We'll do this later. I'm going to work this out. Come on. But hit that like and subscribe, for God's sake. Don't let the Illuminati win. Come on, fantastic. Maybe I do have time to bleed after all. All right, by the way, if I do say so myself, somebody made me come back on here and tell you today's show was brought to you by the kidney. Whatever the hell that means.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
What an asshole. Thanks, everybody. Today's show was not brought to you by any ads, so please support the show. This Saturday, New York's sexy liberal. If you're in the tri-state area, try and get to that state. What are you talking about? Come out. And you subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. I'm just saying, god damn it, I gotta remember to say this stuff during the show.